Splunk, one of the more popular SIEMs that companies tend to invest in, although extremely expensive, but its usability is what makes it my favorite SIEM to use. In this Tool or Tip Thursday video, I want to walk you through on how we can install Splunk on a Windows machine. I'll make a future video on how to install Splunk on Linux. Before we jump into the demo, I wanted to let you know that Splunk has a free training course called Fundamentals 1. This course will introduce you to what Splunk is and will teach you the syntax on how to navigate and work with Splunk. I highly recommend you enroll in that training because 1, it's free, and 2, if you enjoy Splunk, by all means, it's a great introduction course to Splunk. Alright, onto our machine, we can go ahead and open up a web browser and start heading over to splunk.com. Once we're over at Splunk, all we gotta do is, first and foremost, reject the cookies, and now we can go into Products, click on Splunk Enterprise. Now we could do a trial on cloud, but that's not today's demo. So today's demo, it will be installing Splunk Enterprise. And now we can click on free trial. From here, it'll bring you over to a sign up page in which you need to sign up in order to download Splunk for free. So once you're done signing up, you should see this page here where it shows you the Splunk Enterprise and the version number. Now, depending on your operating system, this is what you select. Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. In this demo, since we're doing it on a Windows machine, we click on Windows and then hit Download Now. You'll be presented with the terms and conditions. You can just simply hit I agree, hit Access Program, and now you should have a download link ready to go. Opening up our download folder, we can see Splunk MSI, so we can go ahead and double click that, click on Run. It will ask you to check and accept the license agreement. Go ahead and do that. Now you have the option to customize it or hit next. Now you can go ahead and customize it. All it's asking you is where exactly do you want to install Splunk itself. Now I'm going to leave it with the default config. Hit next. Here it will be a local account or a domain account. In this case, since we are on a local environment, we're going to be clicking on local system. Now if you were in an enterprise environment with a domain, you can click on domain account. But in this case, local system should do fine. Now we enter a username that you want. So in this case, I'll just type in Bobby with a password. And then, do you want to create a shortcut menu? Sure, why not? So click on next, let that install. So this install finally finished after about 5 to 10 minutes, and it does take a while to install. And again, I will be creating a video in the future demonstrating on how we can install Splunk in a Linux environment. With that being said, we can make sure that Launch Browser with Splunk Enterprise is checked and hit Finish. Select the browser of choice that you want, and now Splunk will be installed correctly on your local host on port 8000. And what you want to log in with is the username and password that you created during the MSI setup. So in my case, it was Bobby. And then my password, super secure password. And now, here it is, Splunk. This is it. So what we can do now is start adding in our data and search through it. If you recall my previous video about event IDs, you can actually look through your event IDs using Splunk instead of using Event Viewer, which is, again, not the best tool, but it does its job. So in this case, let's go ahead and add some data on our local machine. We click on Add Data, and here it'll say, hey, welcome. This is your first time. You want to look at a tour? You can go ahead and take a look at it, but for me, I'm going to hit skip. I want to start uploading some data to our environment. I'm going to click on Monitor. That way I want to monitor my event logs. On the left-hand side, we got our local event logs, remote event logs, files and directories, just a bunch of options, which is great. So I'll go ahead and click on local event logs. And what am I interested in? I think I am interested in security for sure. Maybe application and system as well. Now, there are different event logs available for you that you can take a look at. In this case, I'll just hit Application, Security, and System. So we'll hit Next. And now it'll ask you, what would your host field value be? In this case, I'll just leave it as default. Index, you can think of index as a bucket. In this case, I'll just leave it as default, which will be main. Now do keep in mind that if you hit default, it is gonna just drop it into main. But for me, I just like making sure I click on main. Click on review and then hit submit. Now we can start searching and then we can see some data, hopefully. Again, it'll ask you, hey, do you want a tour? Nah, it's okay. Hit skip. Skip tour. And now I can see a bunch of events. So there's our beautiful 4688 event ID. And now we can start searching for that. Literally just type in 4688, for example, and it will show us all of the events tied to 4688. Wonderful. I love Splunk. Again, Splunk is one of the more popular SIM choices that companies tend to invest in. And if you get a lot of hands-on experience on Splunk, you should be good to go. At the end of the day, a SIM is a SIM. As long as you understand the in and outs of how to navigate and find what you're looking for, you'll be in good hands. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you found it informative, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribe if you want to.